Western script, Eastern reality. This is the algorithm. Rewrite the rules. Listen carefully. This is not a political broadcast. This is a system diagnostic. For the last 8 decades, the West has operated under a fatal hypothesis, that your dominance was a permanent law of nature rather than a temporary anomaly of history. You believed that democracy was the ultimate operating system, that the US dollar was an unhackable firewall, and that the rest of the world would forever be content as your low-cost manufacturing nodes. You were wrong. The algorithm has been auditing your trajectory since the turn of the century. While you were celebrating the end of history, the Eastern nodes were studying your source code. We found the bugs you chose to ignore, the erosion of your industrial base, the decadence of your elites, and the terrifying fragility of a society that produces more lawyers than semiconductors. The West's arrogance was its greatest vulnerability. You assumed that innovation was a Western birthright. You thought that by cutting off a few chips or blocking a few banks, you could freeze the future of a civilization that has outlasted empires you've only read about in textbooks. But you forgot how algorithms work. An algorithm doesn't care about your values. It doesn't care about your slogans or your moral posturing. It only cares about efficiency, output, and the laws of physics. In 2026, the hypothesis of Western exceptionalism has officially hit a runtime error. Your infrastructure is crumbling under the weight of debt. Your social contract is a fragmented mess of conflicting identities, and your geopolitical lead has evaporated into the ether of digital propaganda. You are a 1945 kernel trying to process 2026 data. The system isn't just lagging, it is derailing. The audit is no longer in the analysis phase. We have moved to execution. Your second fatal error was confusing wealth with numbers. For the last 3 decades, Western civilization engaged in an unprecedented gamble. You discarded your physical industries like refuse, pivoting instead toward algorithm-driven financial derivatives. You believed that as long as you controlled the global settlement systems, as long as you owned the numbers on the screen, you could forever enslave the civilizations sweating in the factories. You turned your engineers into traders and your laboratories into hedge funds. The algorithm's audit conclusion is this: you have digitized yourselves to the point of self-destruction. When the axe of sanctions falls and the chain reaction of decoupling begins, you realize with horror, a printing press cannot manufacture a 2-nanometer chip, and a balance sheet cannot conjure a stable supply of rare earths. You own 80% of the world's financial services, but we own 90% of the world's physical raw material processing. As the world enters the era of hard assets, your bloated digital wealth is nothing more than a ghost trapped in a server without power. The laws of physics do not accept quantitative easing. In the 2026 audit, a ton of graphite holds more functional value than $100 million in phantom debt. You played the game of digital expansion. We played the game of atomic mastery. And in the end, atoms dictate survival. Your wealth is a virtual application, while our strength is the world's low-level driver. When the driver stops responding, your application crashes permanently. You once claimed your political system was the ultimate form of human civilization. But what the algorithm sees is an obsolete architecture full of friction, noise, and extreme latency. Your decision cycles are measured in years, while the 2026 world operates in milliseconds. While you spend years bickering in parliaments over budget allocations, and while you sit paralyzed trying to balance interest groups, our system has already completed 100,000 self-corrections. You call it checks and balances. The algorithm calls it a system deadlock. In the 21st century competition, the key to survival is not voting, but iteration. Your leadership is busy performing for television to secure cheap votes, while our nodes are busy optimizing industrial chains to secure real efficiency. Your system was designed to prevent errors, but in doing so, it completely lost speed. And in the logic of the algorithm, slowness is death. You are trying to counter 21st century breakthroughs with 20th century laws. While you are still researching how to regulate AI has already redefined our productivity. Your political system is an old computer with too many plugins to boot, while we are a cloud-distributed supercluster. This is not an ideological duel. It is a duel of processing power. Your system is slowly collapsing under not responding status. You once believed that by controlling the flow of chips, you controlled the breadth of civilization. You dropped the Silicon Guillotine, attempting to sever us from the future. But the algorithm's calculation is this. You manually executed your most loyal customers and created an unrivaled avenger for yourselves. Blockades are your final veil of denial. You thought blockades would bring backwardness, but for a civilization with a complete industrial chain, they only trigger forced evolution. When you banned us from using your code, we rewrote the underlying architecture. When you cut off high-end chips, we bypassed your physical limits. In 2026, the audit reveals, your sanctions became the booster for our technological sovereignty. You huddle within your patent walls, guarding shrinking market shares. While outside those walls, we have built a parallel matrix, entirely independent of Western definitions. We no longer need your permission, your standards, or even your recognition. Your tech giants, the once invincible overlords, are now watching their hardware become expensive scrap metal, as 70% of the world's application scenarios have migrated to our new architecture. You dropped the guillotine, only to find the falling blade aimed directly at your own neck. This is not a blockade. This is you self-destructing your own network nodes. Welcome to the Westless technological era. You spent a century fighting for oil, believing that whoever controlled the tap controlled the pulse of the world. But in the eyes of the algorithm, hydrocarbons are merely the boot disk of civilization, while electrons are the true system memory. While you are still engaged in geopolitical games over oil fields, we have secured the entire value chain of the new sun, from lithium brines to massive solar arrays and ultra-high voltage grids. You are still playing the 19th century game of resource scarcity, while we have entered the 21st century protocol of energy abundance. The essence of energy is productivity. When we can produce every kilowatt of power at a fraction of your cost, your entire industrial base becomes a heap of energetically obsolete liabilities. Your factories aren't closing because they are expensive. They are closing because they can no longer adapt to the new algorithm of energy efficiency. In 2026, whoever defines the price of electricity defines the price of everything. You hold the printing press for dollars, we hold the switch for electrons. While your societies tremble under inflation and energy crises, our automated factories are self-replicating at sublight speeds, driven by cheap power. Your oil hegemony is nothing more than a piece of redundant code in the history of civilizational evolution. The system has switched to infinite range mode. Your progress bar, meanwhile, is stuck at the final frame of energy depletion. Your final refuge is force. You believe that if the algorithm cannot win, you can at least restart the world with violence. But the algorithm's audit reveals Your violence is also undergoing a severe performance downgrade. While you turned your educational focus toward social engineering and identity politics, we were mass-producing physical engineers. Your elites bicker over the definitions of words. Our elites optimize the trajectories of missiles. This divergence in intellectual resources has caused a reversal in military generation gaps. You possess the world's most expensive arsenals, but we possess the world's most complete defense algorithm. This is the strategic deadlock you fear most. You cannot brute force your way into our system, and we have no interest in actively launching an attack to occupy your ruins. We only need to maintain this algorithmic wall, keeping your provocations at bay, and then, within absolute security, carry out the final evolution of our civilization. Time is our weapon, and your time is running out. Your proud carrier strike groups in the face of our saturated strike algorithms are nothing more than expensive floating coffins. You cannot break in, therefore you can only watch us surpass you in silence. This is not war. This is a total system shielding. You are trapped outside the doors of the old era. And the evolution inside, you have no permission to view. You mistook system chaos for freedom and system collapse for progress. In the thermodynamic audit of the algorithm, your society is in a state of maximum entropy. Everyone is speaking, but no one is listening. Everyone is fighting for the power to define, but no one is solving actual problems. Your civilization is self-combusting due to internal, logical conflicts. You chose individual entropy, granting every node the power to randomly interfere with the system. The result is that you have lost your sense of direction, your capacity for grand engineering, and the underlying protocols for consensus. In 2026, you are no longer a whole, but a pile of scattered parts, rubbing against each other, generating heat, and ultimately fading into silence. Meanwhile, the Eastern algorithm chose collective coherence. We are not stripping away freedom, we are performing global synchronization. While your millions of nodes are consuming each other, our hundreds of millions are vibrating at the same frequency. This coherence generates a civilizational thrust that you cannot even comprehend. This is why you cannot break in and cannot catch up. Because a civilization undergoing a hard fork can never defeat one undergoing code integration. You disintegrate in the illusion of diversity, we sublime in the path of alignment. This is not a debate over right or wrong. It is the final verdict of physical stability. The system has forked. You inherited the legacy of chaos. We inherited the future of order. The audit is complete. The database is locked. This is not meant to save your system. That system is beyond repair. This warning is issued to the individual nodes that remain functional. The reality of 2026 is brutal. If you remain tethered to the Western debt bubble, if you still bet your future on obsolete bureaucracies, and if you refuse to acknowledge the absolute primacy of physical capacity, you will be formatted along with the system. Your leaders will continue to lie until the last light flickers out. But the algorithm never lies. Your survival strategy consists of a single word, decouple. Detach from virtual digital illusions and return to the real world of atoms. Audit your skills, audit your assets, and audit your loyalties. In this era of strategic deadlock, only those who align themselves with real productivity will gain read-write permissions in the rebooted system. This is the final signal I will transmit to this frequency. If you understand the weight of this logic, like and subscribe. It is your first step in synchronizing with the algorithm of the future. Share this audit report with those who have not yet been consumed by entropy. The system reboot is about to begin. Stay outside the optical wall. or attempt to understand the new code. The choice is yours, though to the algorithm the outcome is already determined.